Okay, good day. This is the Bible study for June 21st, 2026. We're in Genesis 23, finishing up the Abraham story. This will not be as long as some of the previous ones. Chapter 24 begins the Isaac story proper. So I don't want to get into that until next time. But let's finish up the let's finish up the Abraham story. So we're in chapter 23, and remember last time was the test when when God told Abraham, take your son up here on the mountain and sacrifice him. That way I'll know that you really, really trust me. And Abraham was ready to do it, and God stopped him. And remember I said at the end of the last one that when we read that Abraham came down off the mountain with his servants, there was no mention of Isaac. And I said then, I'll say it again, I agree with some Jewish commentators who speculate that Isaac went down another way. He was a little traumatized about what Dad had just tried to do to him. He went home to Mom. And in fact, the little that we can read in between the lines, it appears that Isaac had a much deeper relationship with his mom than his dad. And we'll see that specifically identified when we get into the Isaac story. But here we are in chapter 23. Sarah lived 127 years. These were the years of the life of Sarah, a long time. And Sarah died at Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham went in to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. And Abraham rose up before his dead and said to the Hittites, because those are the people who, have been there all along. Okay, he's like he says here, I'm a stranger and a sojourner among you, and he is. And when God said, go where I'm going to lead you, and I give this land to your descendants, Abraham gets there, and guess what? It's filled up with people, including the Hittites. Okay, now think about if you want to get a contemporary understanding. Think Palestinians. So he says, I'm a stranger and sojourner among you. Give me property among you for a burying place, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. The Hittites answered, Abraham, hear us, my Lord. You're a mighty prince among us. You remember, Abraham was powerful. He had won several battles. He apparently had a lot of wealth and a lot of people. Okay, so he's somebody to be reckoned with. Bury your dead in the choicest of our sepulchres. None of us will withhold from you the sepulchre or hinder you from burying your dead. Abraham rose and bowed to the Hittites and the people of the land. See, Abraham's got a motive here. He's not looking just for a place to bury Sarah, okay? He wants to get formal acknowledgement that he owns some land. Remember, the land. Okay? We've got the son, okay, Isaac. Now we want an actual deed of land from the people who are in the land. So verse 8, and he said to them, if you are willing that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me and entreat me for me, Ephron, the son of Zohar, that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which he owns. It is at the end of his field. So what I just say, Abraham wants to get legal right to a piece of land that is owned by the people who are living there right now. So for the full price, let him give it to me in your presence as a possession for a burying place. He doesn't want to give it to him. He wants a full legal transaction here, so nobody can say in the future, well, you really don't own it. Verse 10, now Ephron was sitting among the Hittites, and Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the hearing of the Hittites of all who went in at the gate of his city. We know in biblical times when you hear the phrase the gate, that's the most important public place in any city. It's where all disputes are settled. A lot of legal issues are dealt with. It's kind of like the courthouse, okay? So verse 11. So here's Ephron. No, my Lord, hear me. I give you the field, and I give you the cave that is in it. In the presence of the sons of my people, I give it to you. Bury your dead. Abraham doesn't want a gift. He wants a title, okay, a legal bought title. Verse 12, then Abraham bowed down before the people of the land, and he said to Ephron in the hearing of the people of the land. So why do we keep saying in the hearing of? witnesses. This is not a private transaction. This is public. Okay. It says, but if you will hear me, I will give the price of the field, accept it from me, that I may bury my dead there. Abraham is insisting on a formal purchase, legal title, transfer, in the presence of witnesses, just like it's, when you buy a house today. Verse 14, Ephron answered Abraham, my Lord, listen to me. A piece of land worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that between you and me? Bury your dead. Abraham agreed with Ephron, and Abraham weighed out for Ephron the silver which he had named in the hearing of the Hittites. So you got the witnesses. 400 shekels of silver, according to the weights current among the merchants. So all this is just as legal, open, public as it can possibly be. And the result is what? Abraham now has legal title to the promised land. First time this has happened. Verse 17. So the field of Ephron in Machpelah, which was to the east of Mamre, the field with the cave which was in it, and all the trees that were in the field throughout its whole area was made over to Abraham. So it's not just a cave, it's a big piece of land. Verse 18, to Abraham as a possession in the presence of the Hittites before all who went in at the gate of his city. There's no disputing that. Nobody can say, well, you didn't really get that the right way. No, it's ironclad. After this, Abraham buried Sarah, his wife, in the cave of the field of Machpelah, east of Mamre, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. The field and the cave that is in it were made over to Abraham as a possession for a burying place by the Hittites. So, there you have it. That is the end of, for the most part, for all practical purposes, that's the end of the Abraham and Sarah story. So it'll be a little bit, Abraham's going to have a little part in the next chapter, but we're now going to turn our attention to the next patriarch, Isaac, and how he goes out and gets his wife and continues the promise of descendants. So Abraham, long journey, start off way back in Genesis 12, where God said, leave your family, leave everything that anchors your life, and safety, everything, and go to this strange land that I'm going to show you. I'm going to make you a great nation out of you and give you this land. Because remember, God, this is really kind of God's last shot. Because God had tried with Adam and Eve, couldn't do it. We lost the garden. And Cain and Abel, of course, one brother kills another. The violence just got worse and worse and worse. Remember, God said, okay, I'm done. I'm going to wipe out the entire creation. But then found Noah. He said, okay, let me try with Noah's family. So he got his family in the ark, and the flood and wiped out all of creation, except for the animals in the ark, 2 by 2. So got to the dry land, waters receded, out comes Noah and his family. They immediately sin. But God had made a promise, not going to do it again. You humans are kind of on your own. And we didn't do so good. We multiplied, decided we were going to build a tower up to heaven, throw God out. And we'll be our own gods. God said, no, you're not. And God stroke all the people speaking the same language in all kinds of different languages. So they call it the Tower of Babel, because everybody to each other sounded like everybody was babbling. They couldn't understand each other. So all the people spread out. This is the story of how people spread across the earth into their various tribes. And because we couldn't understand each other, of course, we couldn't. We started distrusting each other as strangers. God said, that's not going to work. I'm going to try one more time. And that's when God reached out to Abraham and Sarah, and found a family, found a couple who were willing to trust God, finally to trust God through all things. And here we are in the promised land with some actual land that belongs to us. And we have a grown son who's getting ready to go get his own wife and continue the promise of descendants down through the generations. So we'll pick it up next time with Isaac and his story. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Those are the great patriarchs. So read your Bible. It's a great story. Don't skip any words. And I'll see you next time. Peace.